Okay, I know it's been a while, but 2013 Ford Transit Connect. Got called in here because the AC is non-operational. Guess I'll run through this as quick as I can. Very quickly here, here's our wiring diagram. This is our AC circuit. We do have manual climate controls, not that you guys can see it very well, but get a light over here. Manual climate controls, you'll see already that I'm already diagnosed with this car, but I thought it was pretty interesting though, because I want to run you through this and show you what the manufacturer says and where they're very wrong. So if we scroll down here and we concentrate in on our blower switch. Our blower switch here has got one wire that comes out over here. The black wire goes out the ground. The black and red is going to be position number 2. Black and red is going to be position number 1. Black and white position number 1. And that goes into the blower resistor. Pin 3 is going to be black and yellow. That's going to come out there. That'll be a different input. All this is all nice. Everything looks good. By the way, that input goes directly into the instrument cluster. Instrument cluster there has to see that input in order to turn this thing on. Well, all that's great. All that's fine and dandy. However, this thing in position 2 or position 3 or 4, any one of the positions there, your AC request, which is highlighted right there, will say no, unless I go to position 1. In position 1 it says AC request yes. So looking at this and figuring out what they're actually looking for here, if we look at actually what that's labeled as, blower on. So that blower on, that black and red that comes across there, will be the blower on switch input. So quickly, I'm on off position right now. In off position we have, I'll pull this up for you, 13 volts. And if we move it up there to position number 1, it goes directly to ground. We'll watch position 3, back up again, 12.8, 12.8, that's the next position up there on 3, and then 4, which is high, 12.7 volts. Okay, all that's great, fine and dandy. Only position 1 actually gives it a switched input going into that instrument cluster. Now, the diagram down here might seem a little bit deceiving at first, but in testing this and then looking at between the diagram and the information I'm about to show you, which I'll go back and pull it up for you. If we go into symptom-based diagnosis, and that's over here, symptom related, zoom that down for you, go into climate control systems, and we're going to be going for pinpoint test G. That's right here, pinpoint test G, which apparently you have to press it twice. Let's try that again. Might just be my dumb finger not working, but here it is. AC system inoperative. That's us, because we are technically inoperative. We don't see an AC request. So check the indicator operation. Yep, indicator works. AC's there. And again, right now in position 1, it says AC request. If it zooms in, there we go. AC request yes. I'll put it in position 2, just so we have it there. And when it says no, we do have an AC indicator on. It says check the air conditioning switch, instrument cluster, PID with the AC on, which I did before. Does it show the input? No, unless it's in position 1. And we'll scroll this down there. So it sends us back out to G10. G10. G10, check the AC low pressure cycling switch PID. Is it actually showing closed? Yep, shows closed. Go through all this. Let's see here, AC low switch PID, that goes up to 14. Go over to 14. Check the AC pressure sensor PID. Enter the following diagnostic mode on the PCM data logger with the manifold gauge set. Did they match? Yes, they did. Go to 15. 15 says check the air conditioning request signal, AC request PCM PID. Start the engine. With the engine running, place the function selector in the panel position and press the AC request button and monitor the AC request PCM PID. Does it read yes? Technically, no, it does not. So we'll go up here to 16. It says check the instrument cluster blower switch input. And let's see, this step verifies that the IC cluster input from the blower switch is okay. Ignition on with the engine off, place the blower motor switch in low. Enter the following diagnostic mode on the scan tool. I'll do that for you guys just so you guys can see it. Engine off, key on. Now, if I put that back in position 1, which I did. Now supposedly this is going to check to make sure that the wire is not grounded at all times. That's the idea behind it. Right, so it says right there that the input from the blower switch is okay. I'm sorry, my son is calling me at 11 o'clock at night. And I already know what that's for. Dad, don't forget to bring home the fish food. So we go in here and we'll run our self-test. Go into our DTCs. As you can see, I had done that already. C1779 is the code that comes up over there. Look at the description here. Blower switch failure, defective fan speed switch, defective AC selector switch, circuit shorted or open. That's what it says on the Ford scan tool. If we go in here, does it set to C1779? Go to 28. Okay. We'll go to 28. 28 says, check the instrument cluster connection, clear the DTCs, disconnect all the IC cluster connections, check for any pushed out pins, all that good stuff. Operate the system. Does it concern return? Well, yeah. And install a new instrument cluster test for the normal operation. Okay, lousiest test ever. Why would I want to replace the instrument cluster? That's the part that makes absolutely no sense. If we come in here, remember that every time that we sit there and we turn that switch, let me go back to the wiring diagram here. Every time that we turn that switch, go into the interactive color, all that, it did a wonderful job with this. I really like how they did this. There's some integration here from another company. But every switch input that we have there should be going and bringing this thing down to ground. That's what it would say. So if it sends that signal to ground, that's our input for the blower. Technically, or at least, let's see, pin or on 2, and yeah, in 2 it would show blower on as well. So if I go over here to switch 2, bring up the data request, we look at that on there, it says AC request no. On here it's at 12 volts. If I were to take a test light, which I do have here somewhere, and I'll just drop that on the floor, no need for it. And we sit here and we take our test light and we drop that to ground. Our AC request changes to yes and stays at yes. If I were to start this thing and run it, with this being switched to ground, our AC will operate normally. So, although they tell us to check the instrument cluster, this right here and that right there is showing our request, and if you look at the AC pressures there, you'll see that they've come up. If I drop it off, let me just take that away for a second, you'll see the AC pressure begin to drop down because our compressor is no longer on. And I'll try to do this with one hand here, but there's our AC request back on. I could feel the AC is nice and cold because it's about 93 degrees in here, and we have normal operation. So the problem here is not the instrument cluster. The problem that we have is this blower switch, and apparently they were already in here playing around. There's other wires in here that were tapped into. Let's get a light out here and show you guys. Hopefully it doesn't cause too much of a white balance issue, but as you can see though, people were in here playing around already with the AC switch. Apparently this has been going on a long time. It actually went to a dealer once already, and I'm tied into that black and red down there, which is the only one I really care about right now, because that's the one that they said that they were looking at as a blower switch input. So I'm tied into that little black and red back there, and I need a blower switch. I don't need an instrument cluster. I have to start off with the blower switch, take it from there. But just wanted to show you guys though how, you know, sometimes we look at these things and people will sit there and read these flow charts and swear by them, and the answer is don't. don't fall into that trap. You'll end up replacing parts unnecessarily. I can only imagine that since dealerships, you know, promote the idea of reading a flow chart, that's what ends up happening here, is that they end up replacing a lot of clusters that don't need to be replaced. So anyhow, that's all I got to share tonight. Have a good one.